I have a question. I'm gonna videotape this one. Was there a creature that you had more fun writing? And a follow-up, is there one that you want to write and haven't yet?
Hades is my favorite character to write because he's just so evil. And he has no conscience. My Hades has no conscience. I could never write a book about him though because he's so evil. But in Twisted, the villain is actually Hades' son. He's pretty evil too. He has like a whole torture area. And I was surprised when my editor and my critique partners all said, "Oh, you have to write this book." How he does some very mean things, especially to the heroine of this book. And so I don't know. I'm still toying with it.
Oh, that's why you're a prequel.
Yeah.
Back when he was an anti-hero.
Well, at the very end of the book, I had him do one very little tiny nice thing, and I think readers picked up on that and saw that he has like this. There's tiny prospect.
Well, look at Once Upon a Time. They did that with Adrena. She was a total evil, horrible person, and then they humanized her, and now she's awesome. Okay, I am on Team Reggie.
I really enjoyed writing the enemy king in this book. It's all from her point of view, but I got to know him really well, and I really wanted to play with the idea of the shapeshifters, like, from old Celtic mythology, and being able to take any form, not being aware, so just having that sense of mutability, and having the princesses discover to what extent that kind of magic infiltrates their own mutability. So I want to keep taking that farther. I actually get to do 2 more books in this series now. Yay. So I'm going to play with that a lot more. How's that for obscure?
I love writing the dragon shifter and his best friend. It's, to me, the relationship between them, because they've been best friends for 400 years, actually kind of is its own character, in that they feed off of one another. Sim is much more rigid, plays much more by the rules. He's the higher ranking person on the arcane court as far as the enforcer wing goes. And Wretch is, half demon, half dragon, and completely unpredictable. So there are times when they're having a conversation and I can't type fast enough. What I would love to write, and it's one that's been churning in my head for a couple of years now, is I'm going to write somebody who took a potion and accidentally turned herself into a gargoyle. So she went to bed just fine, and then she woke up on the floor because she broke the entire bed. And she changed. It's like the worst thing over ever.
This is the thing. Usually when you say when I woke up I found out I broke my bed. Usually that means something much better happened.
And she wasn't alone.
By the way, she has that conversation with the other people. It's like, I broke the bed and I was alone, and that's just not right.
For me, my favorite characters are twin brothers, Ferals. They're more animalistic than they are human, and I do a lot of play off of, the founding fathers of Rome, so they're kind of related to them. They can do very obscure things, and my excuse is, well, hey, they're really animals, they're not humans, they're just wearing this skin, this is what you see, but that's not really what you get. And Royce, which a lot of my readers really, they love him, I don't know why, but I guess this is kind of hot. He's very funny. He has a very outgoing personality, but on the inside, he's really this dark, brutal person. And if you step on that wrong side of the line, he will basically open your head up and eat your brains out. So it really literally, it literally just depends on the time of day and when you catch him. They're actually characters that I would love to write are brownies. Like, you remember the brownies? How they would just come in, these little people, and they were fun and cute.
Brownies.
I love brownies. So, I've been tossing that story in the back of my head of how to integrate brownies into one of my worlds. I just haven't figured it out yet. But
Make him a man for a woman who needs just some chocolate.
But when I see my brownies,
She was in that anthology with me.
I was in that anthology with her. When I see the Brownings, though, I see them kind of as like tricksters, getting into trouble, and you like wake up and your kitchen's all jacked up and wondering what the
It's the same kind of thing as like the Coyote. I mean, it's
like, did you get
Coyote
visited by
look,
aliens? You know, and I want them to do like really things. So there's this one scene that I keep seeing where this family like gets up and literally like all their forks are like bent the other way and their spoons are like in this really weird pattern, and then like one of the kids is like, we're being visited by aliens, but they're not aliens, they're Brownies. I just have to see how I can work that in. So
I have one character who's been in almost every one of my books. In my paranormal books, his name's Sal. He's a 4-foot pan, basically. He's got horns, he's got a tail, he's got goat legs. But he didn't start out that way. But he's my favorite character to write because he's sarcastic and he's vicious-tongued, and he. But of course, he has a unrequited love story, and I don't want to write that because then I won't have him to write into my stories anymore.
That's true. It's really hard. I had one of my characters was like that. He was through the first 4 books. He was the most fun character to write, and then you had to write his love story, and he has to be kind of serious for that, and it takes away that sarcasm. So I really struggled with that.
Yeah,
Changing that over.
I'm not ready to write that book yet.
It's hard to do that and to have it be really meaningful and be done well.
Alright, well, by far my favorite character to write is Spencer. And I actually end the entire series is essentially his love story. And luckily, he can still be a smartass because he was raised on romantic comedies. And the smartass always gets the love interest by the end, because they always get into, the guy he's after is, super serious, and what he loves